I believe that there are three types of people in life. They're winners, they're losers, and they're winners who've not discovered how to win yet. And these individuals, it's something about them that drives them, that they will invest in themselves. They go to seminars and workshops and lectures, and they're seeking, there's something in them that says, I can do better than this. That there are people who would be glad to be where they are and would be happy, but they're not. How many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you can do more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands. I was reading a story about George Bernard Shaw, who was a very brilliant man in his day, and I love to quote him. But one of the things that was asked George Bernard Shaw that really resonated with me at the end of his life, somebody asked him, if you had to be anybody in the world, anybody throughout history, if you had the power to be born again, who would you like to come back as? And without blinking, he said, I'd like to be born as the man I never was. I like to be the man I never was, that I never became. Seeking to connect with that person. There's another person here that you're looking at. There's somebody else back there. And every chair in this place, there are two people in this place in every chair. You're in the chair with somebody else. There's another person back there. You know they're back there. And that person is the person that you want to become connected with. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you've had some experiences where you said, I can't believe I'm doing this. How many have ever done that, please? That you surprise yourself. Well, every time I speak, I see this as such a sacred opportunity. And I'm so happy. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming, because when I look back on my life, and this Les Brown that you see was in bondage for so many years, didn't come out till late in my life. I had him under arrest. I was in bondage with fear. I wanted to do what I'm doing. And I thought about things I wanted to accomplish, and I held myself back because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid that I would embarrass myself. I was intimidated by people who had college degrees because I didn't have a college degree. I still don't have a college degree. And so I would think about the things I wanted to do, and then I would start thinking about the fact, Les, you can't do that. So that's what I told this guy in me. Les, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les, I hear what you're saying, but come on, be logical, be practical. You can't do that. I know you feel good going to see Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Robert Schuller. I know they motivate you and inspire you, but get real. You can't do that. You never worked for any major corporation. Come on, let's be practical, be logical. Oh yes, I know people told you you have a gift of gab and you have a nice personality and you're funny and you make people feel good and you make them laugh, but you become a speaker, speak for corporations, train and teach people and motivate people to do something you've never done. You're not rich, you're not successful, you don't have any books, you don't have the resources, you don't know the people, you don't have the contacts. You can't do that, Les Brown. See, my heart said I can do that. And I looked at my dream and saw someone doing what I love to do. I love to help people. How many love to help people? And my heart said I can do that. And then I made a critical mistake. I asked how. The mind became operative. The mind came up front and said, Les Brown, I heard what your heart said, but I want to ask you, how will you do that? And so I went from my heart to my mind, and I tried to figure it out. How would I do that? At that time, I wanted to earn $1,000 an hour. My mind said, do you make $1,000 a week? I said, no. Okay. Have you ever done this before? I said, no. Okay. Well, I'm not saying you can't do it, but let me ask you some other questions, all right? Have you any contacts with anybody that can teach you how to do this? No. Okay, well, maybe there's something else. Do you have the money? No. Do you have the credentials? No. Will anybody stand up for you and say, oh, he's done it for me and I know he's good? No. Well, let me ask you, do you really think you could do this? No. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do? You felt it in your heart. You couldn't explain it. You felt it in your heart. And you talked yourself out of it. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. I talked myself out of it. No one did it to me but me. The forte of fruiters is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. My first major goal was I wanted to buy my mother a home. And I achieved that. I'm adopted. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. Saw a sign once that said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. My mama was a good woman. She adopted 7 children. Mama only had a 3rd grade education, but I admired her character. I admired her personality. She never met strangers. Mama met you right now. She would talk your head off. You know, she was a funny woman. She always had a sense of humor. Mama walked fast. We walked with Mama downtown. We had to hold her dress. Mama would walk fast. We trying to keep up with Mama. Years later, at the end of her life, she was 89 and suffering from breast cancer. We took her to a furniture warehouse, and she got out of the car with my sister, and she was holding my arm, and I said, Mama, I said, they have a wheelchair here. Can I get this wheelchair for you? And I went and got the wheelchair, and she looked at me, she said, no, boy, I would walk this place myself. I said, Mama, but it's so huge, Mama. I'll roll you in a wheelchair. She said, I'm fine. And I saw her straighten herself, and she walked it herself. I admired her strength. I said, oh, Mama, you know, this morning I got up, and every time something happens to me and I want to get down and I want to surrender to any of the challenges I encounter, and I got up this morning and the sciatic nerve and this L5 and L4 of my lower disc protruding, and I was in pain, and my body said, you can't do this speech today. And somebody said, are you going to surrender to this pain, or are you Mamie's boy? Get up and straighten your back. You can do that speech. You can walk that flow yourself. When you start walking, you won't feel anything but her presence with you. Sometimes we have to stand up inside ourselves. Sometimes we have to fight ourselves. Sometimes you have a dream and goal that you want to achieve, and you say, oh, I can't do that. You got to tell yourself to shut up. I can do it. Don't tell me I can't do that. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. I can do it. I'm Mamie's boy. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I will do it. I have got to do this. What you think about your dream? And I want you to increase your dream dramatically. And I said you have something special. I'm telling you what I know. You have greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. I don't even know you, but I'm telling you what I know from my own experience. And greatness, ladies and gentlemen, greatness, it's a choice. It's not your destiny. Most people never discover their greatness. Most people, ladies and gentlemen, go to their graves living a life of mediocrity, living a life far below their potential. Oliver Wendell Holmes said most men and women go to their graves with their music still in them. A friend of mine, Dwight Pleasure, was eulogizing his brother in Chicago, and I attended the funeral. Dwight, powerful speaker, he gives a presentation called How to Start Over Again, how to make it from scratch. Oh, Dwight is powerful. Dwight had lost his life for years to drugs and crack cocaine, lost everything, and he came back again. He demonstrated comeback power going around the world, changing people's lives, and he was eulogizing his brother. He said, and the room was very quiet and very somber, and he said, my brother was in the room in California, and they told me he died by himself. And he said, and I submit to you that my brother didn't die by himself. That with my brother died a lot of dreams. With my brother died a lot of potential. My brother had a lot of good ideas. And my brother was one of those guys that said, one day I'm going to, and everybody started laughing. Because everybody knew his brother was talking about various things all the time. One day I'm going to do this, and one day I'm going to do that, and one day I'm going to do. He had a lot of good ideas that he never acted on. And when he died, when he took his last breath, all those ideas, and one day I'm going, all of that went down in the grave with him. Henry David Thoreau, come forward, what are your words? He said, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential. Jim Rohn, come forth, what would you say? When the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people die full of their dreams, full of talent, full of ideas, full of skills, full of intelligence and abilities that they never reached for. They never tapped. They never got into. They never used it. Never used it. And so how do we do that? What is it that blocks us? Well, I mentioned one. Mine was fear. Here's another one. I didn't feel good enough. I was comparing myself to other people. I didn't feel, because I didn't have a college education, and based upon my failures and disappointments in the past and things that I'd attempted to do and they did not work out, I built a very practical, realistic, logical case on why I couldn't have my dream. And so I want whatever dream you have, I want you to expand it, I want you to increase it, and I want to warn you, don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. Don't get trapped there. And don't worry about failing. You're going to fail. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to look stupid. Why? It's called life. Write this down. Make it okay to fail. Goethe says, that which does not kill you will make you stronger. See, well, I found that, as the saying goes, most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. And many don't aim at all. Many just survive. They come to work asking, what time is it? And they work just hard enough to keep from being fired. And they are getting paid just enough to keep them from quitting. In order to reach your goals and do some incredible things, ladies and gentlemen, I say that you have something special. You have got to have faith and ignorance. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in what you're doing. You've got to believe in your product. You've got to believe in your services. You've got to believe in a power greater than yourself. You've got to believe in the power of pursuit. And you've got to be ignorant enough to know that you don't know what you can't do. Don't rule anything out for you. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of humankind what God has in store for you. Repeat after me, please. Leap and grow your wings on the way down. Yes, so you're going to be a good salesperson. You've got to be a risk taker. Here's something else I tell you what. You want one of the keys? What will separate great sales professionals from people that are mediocre? I'll tell you what. I learned this as a kid. I used to sell newspapers. Sam Axelrod, who was one of my early mentors, he used to every day would pick me up, and I was the youngest one in the group, all older individuals and mostly grown men. And every day Sam would get in and he would have a quote for everybody in the car. Sam driving the station wagon, he said, "Gentlemen, yes." He said, "This is a usable world. And if you don't use it in the right way, it's a cruel world." And I would say, "Thank you, Mr. Axelrod." Nobody else paid attention to that. I don't know why, but I was the one. It just made sense to me. And I kept these things. I remember, "Leslie, yes, sir," because he remembered that I was the only one that responded. I was the only one that took notes when he spoke. He said, "Always strive to get on top in life, young man, because at the bottom, that's overcrowded." "Yes, sir. Thank you, Miss Axelrod." But he was baffled by me because he couldn't understand how that adults who were 10, 15 years older than I was, had more experience, how was it that I was selling circles around them? I didn't have the experience. They were more mature. How did this little young kid come there and outsell them? 2-to-1 in many cases. He couldn't understand. When at the evening of the close of the day, he would look around and do a head count. Say, "Wait a minute, somebody's missing." And everybody said, "You know who it is, that Leslie guy." "Leslie!" "Yes, sir." "Hey, come on, nobody sold anything. It's dead territory." "Oh, I can't come now, Sam. Why?" "I haven't sold anything." "Leslie, no one sold anything. You guys sold anything?" "No, sir." "Some of the territories are dead, Leslie." "Sam?" "Yes, sir." I can't come. Why?" "I haven't sold anything." "Leslie, no one sold anything." "That's them, Sam." I'll get home all right. I'll be all right." "Leslie, in order for you to get from here back to Overtown from Liberty City, you've got to pass the 20th Street Sharks, the 14th Street Gang." "Leslie, that's dangerous, young man." "Sam, I'll be all right. It's late. It's late. It's after 8 o'clock. I'll be all right." And the guys would say, "Come on, Sam. He's a fool. Leave him. Leave him. He won't stop." And see, these guys, it was just extra chump change, I guess. I don't know. Maybe to have a new suit, pay a little small bill here and there. For me, it was different. My mother adopted 7 children. Because of arthritic condition, she'd lost her job. So my reasons were different. Write this down. 5 reasons, whatever goes on, dreams are, why you won't fail. 5 reasons. 5 reasons why you won't fail. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. 5 reasons. I couldn't afford not to make a sale. I was out there to get groceries for our family. I had to make money. I had to make enough money for Dr. Johnson when he had a prescription for Mama. I had to make money for the bills, for the light bills. I had to work. Mama was doing the best she could, but Mama, our hero Mama, was sick. We have no relative. She was an only child. She adopted 7 children at age 46. I saw my mother on the floor, scrubbing floors on her knees. We ate the leftover food from the families that she cooked for. They were very nice people. Said, Mamie, whatever food is left over, you can take it home to those children that you have adopted. And I said, Mama, when I get strong enough, I'm going to buy food for our families. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. They would say, Mamie, whatever clothes here that you could use, these children of mine don't need these. Take them home and let those kids wear those clothes that you have adopted. If they were too large, Mama would sew them, take them up. If they were too small, she would let them out. And now Mama was sick, and I said, Mama, what, boy? I'm going to take care of you. How? Don't worry, Mama. And I sold newspapers, and I sold television sets, and I used to collect copper and aluminum from garbage cans and junk piles, and I would bend them together and put them in a bag and a box being booed. We'd take them to Pepper's Junkyard over in Overtown in 11th Terrace and 4th Avenue, and they put them on a scale and give us $5. I would stand on the corner. Hey, we need some boys to come move some stuff. Hey, you're too small. Oh, I'm small, but I'm strong. You see my muscle, man? I'm strong. Okay, boy, you got a lot of mouth. You better be able to be strong. You know? And I'll be grunting stuff and carrying stuff. You know, I was determined I wasn't going to steal. That was not an option. Mama worked too hard. I promised my mama, I'll never get in trouble. I'm going to do the right thing. Mama, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you decided to adopt us. I love you so much. I'm going to take care of you, Mama. I'm going to work hard just like you. Just like, isn't it interesting how kids can be in the same family, raised by the same parents, same circumstances, end up dramatically different? What is that? Remember I said that you have something special? I believe that people go to seminars and workshops, they have that's something. I don't know what it is. It's just something about us that we're different. We don't know why we just got to have more. We don't know why we have this restlessness and say to ourselves, this just can't be it. There's got to be something better. We don't know. We just got to do this. We just got to keep on stretching, got to keep on learning. We don't care about failing. I read something that was in my first book by Dr. Benjamin Mays. He was a great man, great motivator, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Benjamin Isaiah Mays says, it must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life does not lie in not reaching your goals. The tragedy lies in not having any goals to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It's not a disaster to be unable to capture your ideas, but it is a disaster to have no ideas to capture. It's not a disgrace not to reach for the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach. I say you got goals and dreams, things that you're reaching for, things that will make you stretch, things that will challenge you. I say don't lose that passion and that drive for life. It will keep you alive. I'm telling you what I know. Doctors looked at me 8 years ago and said, you have cancer. 8 years ago, they gave me 2.5 years. I was still here. I told my group of speakers that I trained, I said, I'm going to beat this, and this is a year. All of them said, okay, Lester, we believe you, man. We're believing in you. And then they start calling the person who manages my speaking program and say, will we get a refund when he dies? Because they were believing the numbers. Because the PSA 1 to 4 is normal. 119, that's serious. I went to the MD Anderson, which is #1 in the world. Sloan Kettering, Johns Hopkins, Howard University. Went to all type of doctors and urologists and oncologists. And they said, Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, young man, but we've done all we can do. And let me share something with you. Write this down. Work on yourself. See, the people that are going to reach their goals and dreams, not only do they have compelling reasons that drive them, because the thing that drove me, that kept me ahead of everybody else, I had some compelling reasons of why I was selling television sets, no money down. I had some compelling reasons that I'd go to a door at 10 o'clock at night and knock on the door. Hello? Yes? Who is that? Hi, would you like to buy a nice working television set, no money down? Boy, do you know what time it is? Yes, I do. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I take care of my mama, and I'm going to sell a television set tonight to somebody, and it might as well be you. And finally, somebody said, fool, come on in here. It better be a good one. You got to have some reasons. Reasons will drive you. Reasons will give you comeback power. One of my good friends, Willie Jolly, has a saying, one of his books, that if you get knocked, no, he says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. A setback is a setup for a comeback. When they said, you have cancer, one of the things that was different for me than everybody else, and I just finished doing a presentation called You Are More Powerful Than Cancer, was because of the fact that I listened to so many positive things. I went to so many lectures. I talked to so many people that were cancer conquerors. I asked them, what did you do? And when people said to me, oh, my uncle died of prostate cancer, my father died from prostate cancer, my mind said, well, that has nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear nothing about that. I'm not being insensitive, but don't tell me that. That's not my destiny. I got too much work to do. I got things that I'm supposed to accomplish. And so I had a mindset that, hey, I can beat this. I can get past this. Oh, no, I'm not going out like this. So you got to stand up in yourself. You got to fight. You will have opposition. Things going to happen to you in life. It's called life, and it's not personal. Stuff's going to happen. And if you make it to the 40-yard line, if you can make it to age 40, between 40 and 60, it begins to intensify. All kind of things happen. Between 40 and 60, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and finally died. Between 40 and 60, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Between 40 and 60, I went through a divorce from someone that I loved very much. Between 40 and 60, my best friend died waiting on a liver transplant. Between 40 and 60, had a nationally syndicated talk show, highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of television. Between 40 and 60, oh, life put a whooping on me. My God, how many of y'all had yours already? Tell how many of you know what I'm talking about? It ain't personal. Don't say, why did this have to happen to me? Why not you? Who would you suggest? It's called life. And here's what the key to it, that you have to work on yourself. I read every book I could on how to heal yourself. I listened to every speech. I talked to people. I went to lectures. I mean, everything dealing with healing, I fed my mind. Same thing in sales. Focus on your mind. When your sales drop, focus on your mind, not your techniques, not your strategy, not your clothes. Focus on your mind. What you do, what you accomplish, what you're able to sell is a direct relationship to what you believe and the story that you're playing in your head. That's what blocks you as sales professionals. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've earned billions of dollars doing. I'm telling you what got me from being born in an abandoned building on a floor and being labeled educable mentally retarded, put back from 5th grade to the 4th grade, failing in the 8th grade, and being able to give a lecture at St. Albert Hall in London, England, or speaking at Harvard University. I'm telling you what got me here, what brought me to the party, to speak in the Georgia Dome to over 80,000 people, was my belief and the story in my head. The story used to be, I couldn't do that. But by listening to lectures over and over again, faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing, by reading and feeding my mind. Language is the software of the mind. How many of you, since I've been speaking to you, your energy level is higher? Raise your hands, please. Yes. How many of you can feel me in your heart? Raise your hands, please. Yes. When Dr. Norman Vincent Peale spoke, he gave me goose pimples. When Earl Nightingale said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Mr. Swiderski. You like that one, huh? Yeah. Mr. Swiderski, family that we work for in Miami Beach, he did not know why I spent so much time in his office shining his shoes. Because he listened to The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. And I was listening to this. And as he was playing those tapes called Lead the Field, I was hearing these things, and then when I was shining, he said, well, that's good enough. I said, well, let me dust. Let me do, can I do? I'll start. Well, that looks real clean, Leslie. Oh, but look here, the books are crooked. And I went in there early and messed them up so I could stay. because I wanted to be in there while he was taking this time to work on this. He was a multimillionaire. My dream and vision was one day I'm going to be a millionaire like Mr. Swiderski. One day, because I was young, I had faith, and I was young and ignorant. I didn't know I couldn't do it. I didn't know I couldn't have a mansion. I was like the bumblebee. According to the laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee isn't supposed to fly because the body is too large to be held up by its little puny wings. But the bumblebee doesn't know it. It's intelligently ignorant. So it keeps on flying anyhow. You have to read, write this down, something positive every day for an hour. You have to put yourself, and you've got those 5 P's, in a personal development regimen. Take an hour every day. I do it even now. I take 2 because my goals are higher. Every day, read at least a chapter, something positive every day. Listen to a motivational message every day. Language is the software of the mind. Why? Because it will change the story that's in your head. See, what we do, what we accomplish, is a result, as I said earlier, of what we believe and the story that's in our head. See, most people go so far and then they park. They stop. Their income, their achievement level, their commissions, what they do in life just tapers off. They park because the story in their head is, this is it. It's not conscious. Guess what? I got so busy and so consumed with where I was, I stopped reading. I stopped listening to tapes. That which got me there, I stopped doing it. The mind, ladies and gentlemen, is like a garden. If you have a garden, you have a yard, you have weeds, you just can't go out there with 1 can of weed killer. Write this down. Steve Duncanson said this. Powerful statement. Put it someplace. You can apply it to your health. You can apply it to your sales. You can apply it to your business. You can apply it to your life. He said, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. I have to exercise every day. I have to drop out of my bed and do 100 push-ups every day. I have to discipline my eating. I have to turn off the news. I can't watch the news. I'm not going to have a reoccurrence of cancer in my body. I have to eat 80% raw vegetables. I have to drink 12 glasses of water a day. I have to take my zinc and my saw palmetto and my Halen 951. I have to take my wheatgrass. I hate it. I hate it. But life is a fight for territory. I'm fighting for my health. I have to. What working on yourself does, by setting aside time to work on your mind, to go seminars and workshops, it causes you to begin to reflect on yourself, to take personal inventory, and to upgrade your game plan and your strategy, but it increases your faith. See, our belief is something that continues to grow. What I earn is a reflection of what I believe subconsciously that I deserve. They did this study with these senior citizens in their 80s and 90s and said, if you look back on your life, what do you like to say right now? You know what they said? The majority of them said, they have regrets of the things they thought about that they didn't do, and now they're going to their graves not knowing if they could have done it. That's why I said, live full. Die empty. What if you lose? What if you fail? What if things don't work out? So what? It's not about the goals that you reach. It's about what you become in the process. That's what it's about. I've lost a lot of deals. That's okay. I've made a lot, but I've lost more deals. I get more rejections. You get close to me, there's a callus on my, it looks like a mole. I've made over 100 cold calls in a day to convince people to bring me in. Who are you? My name is Les Brown. Have an experience? No, I don't, but if you will let me work for you, I work real hard. I'll have you as my client that will brag about me. Oh no, you let us know when you do it for somebody, okay? Yes, I will. Calling. Finally, somebody said yes. Write this down. You will win if you don't quit. Oh, sales, you got to have stamina. You've got to have staying power. You want to be successful in sales, you've got to know your vitamin. Oh, you can't be a wimp. Someone says no, that's when we get excited. That's when a sales professional gets started. Everybody said yes, we wouldn't be needed. Let us say together, it's possible. See, the people that are going to increase their sales, the people that are going to change their lives, the people that are going to recover their health, the people that are going to build their lives and start all over again from scratch are people who believe it's possible. The people who fail are the people who suffer from possibility blindness. Repeat after me, please. Go all out. Yeah, write that down. See, when you want to increase your performance in life, they say the people that are successful in any area of life, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. If you want to make it in any area in life, you've got to go all out. I was always the top seller where I was because I made more calls. I made more presentations than anybody else. I always, if I had a goal to earn $100,000 a year, I set my sight and I had a plan of action to make enough calls, create enough prospects to earn $400,000. Why? I had to give Murphy's his. If I shot for 100,000, I knew I would fall short. But if I shot realistically and practically and worked like I was working for 400,000, I wouldn't drop down to 100,000. And even if I dropped at 200,000, I'm still ahead of the game. A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. Write this down. You want to make it today? You got to outthink and outwork the competition. Outthink and outwork them. We're going to take a break and I'm going to share with you some other strategies that will give you the competitive edge. I don't care what you're doing. I outwork my competition. When I decided to become a motivational speaker, my goal was not to be just another guy out here. I train speakers. And I say, let me tell you what has governed the industry. The Dale Carnegie course, which is a great course. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. I said, you want to be successful in speaking or anything else? I said, listen to me. My favorite book says, and all thy getting, get understanding. You want to be successful in any business and any sales, first thing you want to do is know your customer. I tell people spend more time listening to them, asking questions, finding out what they need. Don't go in running your mouth. Some people talk their way in and talk their way out. Have you seen them do it? Raise your hand. Find out who they are. Find out what do they want. Ask questions. Give a presentation from their point of view, not from your point of view. Let them see you as a resource, as a consultant, as a strategic partner. Don't go in selling. Build relationships. Zig would say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Here's something else. Whatever you want to do in becoming successful, write this down. Master your knowledge of the marketplace and the product. When I decided to become a major player in this industry, I started out reading one book a week. You must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. The average American reads one book a year. If you decide to become an expert professional in your area and becoming knowledgeable about your customer, about the product, about the industry, about the competition. If you just study and read one book a month, in 5 years, when the average American read 5 books, you'd have read 60 books. It will make you an expert. Here's the other thing that we'll talk about when we come back. Write this down. We'll start off this with presentation power. The difference between successful and unsuccessful sales professionals is the power to present. Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, yes, sir. Man changed my life. I was in his class waiting on another student. He said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of his students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I can't do that, sir. Why not, sir? Because I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. I'm in special education. And as the students erupted in laughter, he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe and said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And he said, Mr. Brown, he said, develop your mind and develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And with that, we will take time out. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank you. At this stage of my life, I'm reinventing myself. I'm training people how to become a part of this $58 billion industry. And one of the things that I think that top sales performers have going for them is the ability to present. And that is either on the telephone or one-on-one or in small group settings, making a presentation or speaking before a large audience. It's something that can be learned, and something that some keys I'd like to share with you in the training that we provide that will give you a competitive edge. How many of you think that will have some value and learning strategies that can impact your presentation style? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have ever been in a situation that you know that had you been more effective in terms of how you presented yourself, that you would have done better? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have ever been in a situation, this has happened to me, where you choked? Raise your hand, please. Where I just choked, you hear me? Just could not remember anything. My mind went blank. You want to master your knowledge. You want to know when you open your mouth that you know what you're talking about. The reason that I said you have to work on yourself, and write this down, before you speak, power presentation. Before you speak, see, a lot of people just worry about getting up and speaking and presenting. Before you speak, there's work you've got to do on you, because I don't care how good you are in your presentation, in your knowledge, how well organized it is. I don't care about your PowerPoint presentation. Who you are behind the words will be more powerful than the words you speak. When you come into the room, you've got to have a spirit and energy about you that you expect this deal to happen. You have to come in the room and you have to look at them, and your look must be, the only reason you were spared from birth control was to give me this deal. Before you speak, your body language, when you come in the room, watch your posture, your mindset. Before you speak, listen to positive motivational messages. Before you speak, read 10 to 15 pages of something positive. Why? It increases your energy. We're all connected, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't you felt people's energy? There's some people you get around them and you just say, there's something about that person, I don't know what it is, but I don't like their energy. How many of you have been like that, right? How many of you ever walked into a deal and you knew the deal was done before you took the contract out? Raise your hand, please. You know it. You knew it. Because you knew you were in the zone. You knew you were in your place. You knew you were in sync, mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And your information, you knew you were ready. It was ready. It was game time. You knew it. And I'm saying, from the time you get out of the car and walk in, from the time you make eye contact and shake their hand, from the time when you say hello, you have to be closed. You have to close the deal. In your voice, your mindset must be, this is it. Stick a fork in it. It's done. You're not going anyplace else. This is it. One stop, one deal. It's mine. I do market takeaways against the brightest and the best. I don't care about the credentials. MBA, PhD only means pile high and deep. That's all. No disrespect. I don't care. I'm going to prepare. You're not going to outthink and outwork me. I'm going to know everything there is to know about my customer, about what their needs are. I like what this lady said, and she said, talking about the added value her company was providing for her customers. She said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them. When I decided to become a speaker, I noticed that you hear most of my heroes, they gave the same speech. It's a memorized script. They give it everywhere. I decided I was going to make myself different. What is different about you? You've got to have something that makes you stand out. When you are in a situation and people make decisions with their dollars, in a time when the economy is tight, in a time when budgets are tight, you don't have the option of not believing in yourself. If there's any doubt, is an ounce of doubt, and trust me, 99.5 won't get it. If there's any doubt, if you're intimidated by the competition, I charge more than 99% of the speakers. And they said, hey, you know, you charge too much. No, you just don't have enough money. I don't charge too much. You get, well, I've got a speaker that will come in for $15,000. I said, then get that. Then you get a $15,000 speaker and you get the results of whatever they produce. But when you want the best, you call me and I might be at the same level. Okay, no, we don't want anybody else. We want you. Very good. Then write the check. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your product. You have to believe in your service. And you have to sell you every day. That's the biggest sale you have to make. The biggest sale, ladies and gentlemen, that I make every day, that Les Brown, you can do this. The biggest sale I had to make when I left the doctor's office, and they said, Mr. Brown, your PSA is still going up. The biggest sale I had to make as I was walking out of the office, I can beat this. I can beat this. It doesn't matter about what they say about their numbers. I'm not going to listen to that report. Oh, no, absolutely not. They are not God. They don't know the future. They don't know who I am. I've got to fight this at the cellular level. Oh, no, other people have beat it, over 9 million. I can beat this. I'm stronger than cancer. If other people can do it, then it's possible that I can do it. It's not my time. Oh, no. They don't know who I am. Oh, I can make this sale. Absolutely. No, I don't have the credentials. No, I can't do a slide presentation. Can't even turn on a computer. I still have my 8-track. Oh, but I'm going to get this deal. You got to sell yourself every day. And sometimes you get scared. I like what Ambrose Redmoon said, that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the judgment that what you want is more important than your fear. I used to be intimidated by people because they had more education, because they had more money, because they had credentials, because they had contacts, because they had four-color brochures, because they had books, and I didn't have all these things, because they had infomercials and they had television exposure, and I didn't have all those things. But the judgment that providing for my family was more important than my feeling inferior, more important than my fears. The judgment that I have to control my future, the judgment that I want to be able to take care of my mother, that when my mother becomes ill, I want to be in a position to do more and just pray for her. Oh no, whatever she needs medically, I will be able to write the check. The judgment that my children would have a choice to go to the college of their choice to give them a competitive edge in the future. The judgment that, oh no, one day I'm going to be able to have vacations. I will go to Paris, I'll go to Tahiti, I will go to Jamaica, I will go to Hawaii. The judgment, I have more time for myself. The judgment that I'm going to secure my grandchildren's future and my great-grandchildren. The judgment of those things that make life worth living was more important than my fear. What is it that will make it worth it for you to face the rejections? What is it that will make it worth it for you to brainstorm and not be intimidated and say, I can do this? What is it that will make it worth it for you to raise the bar on yourself and say, I got some more stuff in me. Oh, I haven't even gotten my biggest deal yet. What is it that will make it worth it for you to go back to a customer who slammed a door in your face? What is it that will make it worth it for you to know your vitamin, that you become empowered by it? What is it that will make it for you when you want to give up? You can't buy a sale, and things are working against you, and you get close to making your numbers, and then they double your quota. What is it? You got a sales manager breathing down your neck, don't give you the tools, don't give you the resources that you need. You're working in a toxic environment, and rather than working together, they're working against you. What is it that will make it worth it for you to get out of the car when you want to keep driving past the office because of the stress? What is it that gives you the strength and the power? I got a saying on one of my tapes, and life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. What is it that will help you get back up again? Can you feel me up it here, up it here? Come on, get over there, a round of applause. Come on now. When you are involved in any area of life, let us say you got to have drive. Together, got to have drive. Let us say kick it up a notch. Yeah. See, when you are presenting, I tell and train my speakers, you've got to kick it up a notch. You've got to have power, feeling, and conviction. You can't be casual. See, if you're casual about your dream, you will end up a casualty. If you're casual about your product, if you're casual about what it is you're presenting, if you don't internalize it, if they can't feel that you are excited, that you are sold yourself, they don't care. You've got to give people enough emotional energy to say, wait a minute, I know this costs less, but there's something about this person, I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with them. I'm telling you what I know. I've had companies say, no, look here, I know we have these other people, but I want somebody in here that's on fire about our stuff. I talked to this guy, he's already done his research, he knows about us. I saw him speak, and he's so custom designed, we thought he was in the real estate industry. We thought he was involved in finance. What is it that's going to set you apart? You got to care enough to do your research. You got to know what you know, and they got to know that you know that you know. And when you speak, how you speak before the words, the spirit of who you are will touch them, give you the competitive advantage. If you're going to be successful today, write this down. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be versatile. And you've got to be adaptable. You've got to deal with circumstances such as you find them. Why? Because a lot of stuff is going to be thrown at you. Many times you're not going to have time to prepare. Sometimes people come out of nowhere with stuff, and you've got to stand up inside of yourself and handle it. See, ladies and gentlemen, we've been blessed to be dropped off on this part of the planet. Because we have choices. Some people don't have choices. They don't have the option. I've been abroad where I stood in line waiting to cross the border singing, God Bless America. They called me to my room. Mr. Brown, did you call? Yes, I just turned on my shower and it didn't come on, and I tried to flush the toilet and it didn't flush. Oh, well, the water be back on at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock? No problem, man. Oh, there is a problem. I want to flush the toilet. Oh, I don't want to sit up in here and smell that all day long. Oh, no, it ain't that kind of party. I want to take a shower. There's a problem up in here. Oh, no. We do this every day. We don't have enough water to have it running all day long. We take that for granted. For granted. I'm in a grocery store and hear this woman crying out on the other aisle. I go around thinking she fell or something, and she'd just been brought here from Russia, and she'd never seen so much food. And she said, oh my God, and she turned to the lady that took her in the store and she said, Yavas la blue, Yavas la blue. Means I love you. Thank you for bringing me here. I love you. Yavas la blue. Stuff we take for granted. Why is it that immigrants coming to this country can't speak the language and run circles around our children academically and have a 4 times greater chance of becoming millionaires than the average American? Why? Why? Because they are not casual about making it. They don't come here wanting to live their dreams. They expect to live their dreams. When you outswim sharks or you sneak over here through some ship cargo or in the belly of a plane, oh, let me tell you something. You come here running and have a passion to win, to do whatever is required. If we're going to maintain our dominance globally in this era that Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's, accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition, we've got to kick it up a notch. We've gotten too comfortable. Oh no, it's a different game now. We've gone from a domestic economy to a global economy. Oh no, we can be replaced in a heartbeat today. You either expand, as Robert Schuller says, or you are expendable. You've got to kick it up a notch. Oh, it will never be like it once was. Oh no, today, oh, that's not in my job description. It's not where you better put it in there. You got to do more and do it faster and do it better. You got to kick it up a notch. It's a brand new day. See, if you ask most people, do you want more sales? Do you want more out of life? Do you want to earn more money? Do you want that home? Do you want to lose weight? See, want shows up in conversation. Expectation shows up in behavior, in choices, how you manage your time, how you manage your energy. It shows up in your intention. It's not lip service. So I know the people who expect to lose weight. Why? Because they know they've done as much as they could by themselves, and so they get a trainer, they get some help. They go to the gym, they have an exercise program, they get a nutritionist because they realize my best thinking has produced this body. I know people who want to earn more. How do you know that? When they realize what Einstein realized, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. As you look at yourself, look at your goals, one of the things that's very important that I've learned from people who are high achievers, they have coaches. Why? Why have I hired Mike Williams for the past 35 years? Because you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Why is it that I got more out of my fitness program with a trainer than I did by myself? Because a trainer can pull more out of me than I can pull out of myself. People who have become top achievers never stop learning, and they have coaches. Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Muhammad Ali had Angelo Dundee. I don't care who the greats are. Somebody was in their corner, looking over their shoulders, helping them. Why? You can't see the fight when you're in it. Mike said, Les, you got to do this. Les, you got to do this. Les, you got to do this. And I had to be willing to listen. Most people fail because they don't know that they don't know, and they think they know. In life, here's what I want you to do. Write this down, please. You got to trust that you're going to be all right. You have no evidence to support it. It doesn't make sense. You can't point anything to say, well, this is why. There's no logic in it. There's no way in which you can logically and practically and realistically support it and prove it. That's why you got to have faith and you got to have trust. Somehow, some way, you've got to have that you're going to come through. And I can tell you, some things will begin to happen that you will not even anticipate. The phone will begin to ring. Deals will come out of nowhere. Somebody will recommend you. Someone you talked to years ago and gave them a brochure and put it on the desk, and somebody in their office came in and picked up your card or picked up your brochure and called you out of the blue. I remember years ago, I read an interview by James Brown. At that time, he was recognized as the hardest working man in show business. And it was my senior year, 1963. In an interview, they asked him, what was your greatest performance? At that time, his number one song was Please, 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 Please. They had a cape and put it on his back. Baby, please don't go. And he would throw the cape off and run back on stage. He'd do the James Brown stuff. And he said in that interview, when they asked him, what was your greatest performance? And he said, the last one. The last one. See, you're always in competition with yourself. I'm working on being the best presenter I have never been. You're working on being the best salesperson you've never been. You're working on being the best father, the best mother you've never been, the best entrepreneur you've never been. There's somebody else in you back there. And as you work toward becoming that person, who you are right now must die daily. You've got to kill that person off. You've got to be willing to give up who you've been for who you can become, to release what Elizabeth Browning called the imprisoned splendor. The road will come as you take each step. That you're going to go into uncharted territory. You're going to do what Henry David Thoreau said. Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. You're going to break records. You're going to do some things when you challenge yourself, when you work on yourself, because you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Most people don't know. If you want to improve your income, you want to improve your circumstances, you want to improve your commissions, you want to improve your life, you got to first improve yourself. You got to first take the time to work on you. Zig talks about a lumberjack whose wood production dropped by 40% because he wouldn't take the time to sharpen his axe. Write this down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I want you to think about your best year earning, your best year of sales, your best year of accomplishment, your best year of achievement. Here's what I know about you, and I don't know you, but from people that I've worked with and from things that I've learned and in my own life example, here's what I know about you. Whatever you have done is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for you. You can do 4 to 5 times more than whatever you have done. If anybody had told me, given my circumstances, born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, if both my parents stood up now in the audience and say, hey, we're your parents, I would not know either one. Being adopted, labeled educable, mentally retarded, failing twice in school, if anybody had told me that in my future I would be speaking to you. In my future, I would write books. In my future, even though I don't have a college education, I would produce 6 different specials for PBS and earn millions of dollars. In my future, I would have a nationally syndicated talk show. In my future, I would travel around the world and speak to over 80,000 people in the Georgia Dome. Nobody could have convinced me when I was working at Sears as a salesperson, when I was working for the Miami Sanitation Department as a garbage collector, making $8 an hour. No one could have looked at me when I was walking to empty their garbage and pushing that can forward and kicking it and getting up under it and moving it and straightening my back and walking with it to empty that stinking garbage in a truck with other men older than me and stronger than me. I did not know that this Les Brown that you see now existed. I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm still working. I know there's something else back here. I feel that there's something bigger for my life. And I feel that at this stage of my life, only certain kind of people come see me. People that show up because we're cut from the same cloth, we're branches of the same tree. People who feel me in their heart. People who are strange. People like me. You're strange. That's why you're here. You're different. You're different. Mr. Washington, Mr. Brown, yes, sir. You want to be successful? Yes, sir. Don't follow what other people do. I feel like a stranger when I have family reunions with my family. When I go to my reunions with my classmates, they talk about retirement. Life is about change. Human beings were built for change. Animals can't change. An alligator can't be anything but an alligator. A tree can't be anything but a tree. Human beings, we were built for change, to reinvent ourselves. You must be born again. There's something in you. You're pregnant with unlimited possibilities. You're pregnant with greatness. There's some things in you. In this room, some entrepreneurs. In this room, some millionaires. In this room, some great ideas, great strategies. In this room, some great concepts for business. In this room, great fathers, great mothers, great community activists and policymakers. In this room is greatness. In this room. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you want to do. Here's what I feel. Here's what I have coming to me in my mind that I feel from you. And while you've taken this slice of your life to spend this time with me, to honor me with your presence, because time is so important, I believe that there's somebody in here that it's your time. I remember when Mr. Washington gave a speech, and I just failed math and history and English, and I had to go to summer school for the 5th straight year. He was speaking to the graduating seniors. I was going to have to be involved in a summer school program to go to the 12th grade. He was giving this speech. I heard his voice, and I came in the auditorium. I stood in the back as he spoke, and I felt he was speaking to me. People were jammed around the auditorium because Mr. Washington, he's in his 80s now. He's still very eloquent. He was a great orator. And as he spoke, he said, I was brought here from Brighton, Florida. And I believe when I was brought here, I came to develop greatness. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than what you can ever begin to imagine. And as you graduate from Booker T. Washington High School, if you leave here with a sense of greatness, if just one of you have that vision of yourself, then Mr. Charles L. Williams, your principal, and the school board and all the people that were involved in recruiting me to bring me here, their efforts would not have been in vain. If just one of you have the vision, a larger vision of yourself, doing more, impacting people's lives, changing the course of history, creating a brighter tomorrow, then my being brought here would not have been in vain. And they gave him a rousing standing ovation. And as he left and went down the auditorium steps, I followed him. And I said, Mr. Washington. He said, yes. I said, do you remember me, sir? He said, no. I said, my mother, Mrs. Mamie Brown, she works in the cafeteria now. She got started. She's the one that fixed the great sweet potato pies that everybody talk about. I'm the twin, Leslie. Remember I was in your class waiting on MacArthur Stevens and you told me to do something. I told you couldn't do it. And I told you I was in special education. I was educable, mentally retarded. And you said to me, somebody's opinion of me does not have to become my reality. He said, yes. I wrote that down, sir. I see that every day when I get up. It's on my bathroom window, sir. On my mirror in my bathroom. I repeat that to myself. It doesn't bother me anymore that people call me DT, the dumb twin. He said, I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Brown. I said, sir? He said, yes. You said that if anybody, just one person in there got a larger vision of themselves, that your being brought here would not have been in vain. He said, yes. Well, sir, I'm the one, sir. You are? Yes, sir. I'm the one. One day, sir, you are going to hear my name. What will you do? I don't know, sir, but one day you watch. You're going to hear my name again. He said, okay. He said, it's possible. Yes, sir. He started walking away. I said, Mr. Washington, he said, what do you want now? I said, don't forget my faith, sir. Don't forget me. I'm Miss Mamie's boy. I'm a baby boy. People told her she should take me back to the welfare department, but my mama kept me anyhow. I'm the one. He said, okay. He started walking away. I said, don't forget. Don't you forget here. And he didn't even bother answering. He just kept walking. Years later, I produced a special many years ago on PBS called You Deserve in Detroit. And I called friends and had them to call him to tell him to turn on public television when they're doing their fundraising. And when the announcer came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, You Deserve with Les Brown, he was in the kitchen and he came out and he saw me come up on the screen. He said, Edith, look, it's the dumb twin, look. And he called me in Detroit, and this was, and I cannot wait to tell you the story, how I used to sleep on the floor of the Penobscot building and building my business. You know, during the good times, you put it in your pocket. During the tough times, you put it in your heart. And so he said, may I speak to Mr. Brown, please? I said, who's calling? He said, you know who this is. I said, oh, Mr. Washington, it's you. He said, you were the one, weren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, but you were so crazy. I said, I know, but I'm rich now. I don't know what your goals are. I'd like to leave this with you. You have greatness within you. You have a part of yourself in you that if you reach for it, if you work at it, you will discover some uncommon moments that other people only dream about. If you work to live full and to die empty. I saw something recently that said, I refuse to die an unlived life. And I'd like to leave this with you. To the greatness in you, that's what I'm speaking to now. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care where you are. I don't care about your failures. I don't care about your disappointments. Whatever you're going through, you're greater than anything that has ever happened to you. And I like to leave this with you that my mother used to love to hear me say. She said, Leslie, I said, yes, ma'am, mama. Say that thing for me, boy, that makes me feel good. And mama fought breast cancer for 22 years. She's a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. Mama was a fighter. You got to fight for your dream. I learned to fight from my mama. Mama was a fighter. And I dedicate this to you. And it says simply this: if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famish, or gulf, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, have dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. God bless you, God bless your dream, and God bless America. Thank you very much.